If you're complaining about me defending my family, you get out of this house.
You do know that this is Father's house, right? So if anyone's leaving, it's you, if your sister is so important to you. Why don't you rent an apartment and there with her and her child? I doubt if your salary is enough to cover expenses for the three of you.
Shut up. Don't you dare make fun of.
With that, my husband slapped me on the ass.
That's what happens when you disobey. If you don't want it to happen again, say,
My name is Kate, and I'm a 34-year-old. I currently live with my husband, Chris, our 6-year-old daughter, Michelle. We live in an apartment, 3-seater sofa that's just the right size for a 3. But recently, a certain individual moved in, and it has become a big problem. This certain individual is my sister, Judge. Out of the blue, she came to our house with her 3-year-old daughter. According to Judge, her husband is a man who constantly harasses her. It seems like he's physically violent when things get rough. She says she was afraid of what would happen to her daughter if she stayed. So she came to our house. Her parents' house is in the country. And she doesn't want to move out of her apartment because her daughter just started kindergarten. Corey heard his sister's story and her into our house without any question. Well, if that's the case, I'll be fine sheltering her for a while. That is what I thought at first. However, I gradually began to doubt whether Judy was speaking the truth. It's already been a month since but she hasn't shown any signs of pursuing a divorce or looking for a new rock. For a while, I guess it was necessary for her to calm down and relax. But it's been a month. It's not wrong for me to think that she's making some kind of move. And I haven't heard whether her husband has been in touch either. I think maybe she's told Corey, so I try to ask him. But he says weird things, like I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. I can't tell you. It's Judge's private matter. Corey is not the only one working and financially supporting the household, and I'm actually the one managing the living expenses and making sure ends meet. So, how long is Judge going to be staying with us? Well, to be honest, I want her to as soon as possible. If Corey doesn't do anything, I'll have to speak to Judge myself.
Judge, when are you getting a divorce? Have you found a room?
But when I ask her these questions, she replies, "Oh no." Acting like this vulnerable being is a sudden, but she eats so much of my cooking. She goes out at night, leaving me alone. Most of the time, she comes home to alcohol. When I point this out to Corey,
She had a tough time with her husband repressing her, letting her be.
and does nothing. I had no idea because I didn't know well, but it seems Corey loves his sister. She's spoiled because of him. That's why she gets carried away and listen to me. Lately, I think she's gotten too used to living in our house. She's always lounging on the couch. Even before I go to work, she's there on the couch. She doesn't help with any of the housework, leaves the air conditioning on, and uses our for her lunch without permission. So when I came home, the groceries I was going to use for dinner are gone. Sometimes I would have to go to the supermarket again to buy more. This continued, and before I knew it, months had passed since Judge and her daughter first came to our house.
I really can't take it anymore. Can you please talk to her as an older brother?
My patience is at an end. So one day I asked Corey to tell his get her act together.
What? Are you going to treat my sister poorly? She's my family.
How can you say that? I let her stay here for 2 months, even though she has done nothing. Isn't that generous enough? 2 months is more than enough time divorce and work sorted out. but she stays here every day, doing absolutely nothing, only to leave the house at night to go and do whatever she pleases.
I'm telling you, it's just her way of dealing with the stress of what she's been through.
We've passed that period completely. It's time for her to move on.
With this, Corey snaps back at me.
Shut up. You know my sister suffered. You cold-blooded devil. Don't you have a human heart? I didn't think you were so cruel.
For once, I cannot back down.
Okay? Then I'll help you with the house. Help me with the housework. We both work. Why am I the only one doing all the work and taking care of Michelle? If you care so much about your sister, then take care of this house too. At least drive Michelle to kindergarten. You've never done anything, you know? It's not like you're going through time right now. Not like your sister. So you should be capable.
With this, Corey doesn't know what. I guess he can't talk back because is said is right. All he can say to me is this.
Well, that's your job as a wife.
Huh. What was that? Are you harassing me? You say you're upset that Judy's husband is harassing her, but it's okay for you to do the same.
That's not what I...
Can I ask you to drive Michelle from...
Okay.
The problems with my sister-in-law have not been solved at all. But for now, I'm glad that my husband is helping me with our daughter. But this doesn't lessen my workload as I thought. Michelle goes to the ballet class. My job to drive her there. Corey says he's worried about his daughter, Amy. So he says he has to stay home with... Well, I never expected him to drive on Saturdays too. But the problem is that the house is a mess when we return. And I'm the one who has to clean up after them. When I ask Corey if he can at least house tidy, he says, I'm tired from all the driving. Let me rest on a Saturday. When I ask Judge to help with the housework, Corey says she doesn't need to. So there she is every day, just sitting her ass. It's like she's a princess. And Corey seems to be more fond of niece than his own daughter. It worries me that Michelle always sad. I once asked her, what do you talk when Dad picks you up? But she replied with, we don't. Doc said a word. When I heard this, I was absolutely mortified. I had no idea that he wouldn't talk on daughter at all. After hearing this, I am filled with toward Corey because he talks to Amy so much. Even she would find it annoying. My life has truly been stressful and emotionally draining since Judge's death. If she's going to stay any longer, to come up with some measures for my sake, and the timing to make a move comes, then I thought. It is while I'm in the bath, taking my time to relieve myself from stress, when I suddenly heard Corey shouting. I am so startled that I fling on my and rush into the living room.
Michelle, do you know what you just...
As I reach the living room, I see my daughter trembling in fear, with tears rolling down her face. Corey is red-faced and angry. No matter how many times Michelle he yells, you disgusting child, we beat that mean personality out of you, and won't listen to her at all.
Hey, calm down. Think of what you're to her.
I immediately stand between my husband and daughter, protecting her.
Tell me what happened.
Michelle pushed Amy. She shoved her floor.
What?
How dare she push my sister's daughter? I don't remember raising such a bat.
I can't believe it. My daughter is always kind and gentle. I can't believe she would push her violently. However, looking towards my sister, her daughter, I see that Judge is hugging and comforting a crying Amy.
It was a terrible thing to do. You properly punish her, Corey.
Glaring at Michelle, Judge egged me on.
Wait, a minute. Maybe Michelle did push Amy, but why? She wouldn't do something like that. Reason?
With this, Corey replies,
Amy wanted to read the book that Michelle was reading, so she pushed her.
that was his explanation. Maybe it's just me, but it feels like he's leaving out some important points.
Michelle, will you tell me the truth? The book you were reading, was it pulled away from you?
I ask gently, and she nods.
Maybe you were trying to keep hold. And then Amy's hand slipped and she fell off.
Michelle nods repeatedly. I turn to Corey again.
That's not what you told me. Michelle was shocked by the sudden. So she just tried to protect herself, didn't push Amy.
Shut up. That doesn't change the fact she hurt my precious niece.
What are you saying? That your niece important than your daughter?
Of course, she is. My family is the most important thing in my life, which makes my sister's child a precious gift as well. If you're complaining about me defending my family, you get out of this house.
I'm disgusted. This man has lost it. No matter how hard I try, we'll never understand each other.
You do know that this house belongs to Father, right?
With this, my husband looks startled. Judge seems upset too. What do you mean? She asks.
You'll be happy, right? Because your sister so much.
It seems this was it for Corey.
Shut up. Don't you dare make fun of.
With that, my husband slapped me on the ass. I feel a twinkling pain in my cheek. It must be turning red too.
That's what happens when you disobey.
I rub my cheek with my hand and say, fine, I'll do as you say, leave. Packing my belongings, I take my daughter's hand and head to my parents' house. My parents are livid when I tell the happened. Divorce him. That's the only option getting them to leave that apartment, says my father, the owner of the apartment. But I'm sure Corey won't leave us easily. So, for the time being, I decide to research to be prepared. I contacted my in-laws to gather information about Judge's husband. I thought they might know something him. However, they say they haven't heard from Judge. On the contrary, according to them, her husband's relationship with his mistress was going well. I become increasingly suspicious of statements, but I've only briefly met her husband. And, of course, I don't have his contact information. My in-laws always contacted him through Judge, so they don't know how to reach him.
I heard he works at a company called so-and-so. Why don't you try reaching out to the customer service department of the company?
They say. So I head off to the company where works. I vaguely remember his face, so I'm able to recognize him at the office. I stand outside the company near the working hours, find him. When I call out to him, Stan is stark. Then he hastily asked, "Do you know where Judge is right now?" For a moment, I wonder if Judge really is suffering from this man. But it seems this is not the case. I went to a coffee shop with him, and he had to say, apparently it was Judge who was the one. Does Corey know about this? Well, it doesn't matter. Stan says he wants to help. With him and my parents, we went to see Corey and Judge's new house. When she sees Stan, Judge is shocked.
How? How did you find me?
Judy, you know you have to pay the compensation to me, right?
It turned out that Judge's words were all she had been having an affair with. To add insult to injury, Stan had already divided his estate among his children. Judge fled to this house because she did not want to pay him. Stan didn't know how to contact Judy's parents, and he was too busy at work to visit the countryside. He was about to give up, unable to do anything about the situation. Are you still going to take your side? I asked Corey. Of course. It's his fault if his wife is on him. If he answers, it's unbelievable. Great. No need for me to worry about him anymore.
I'm divorcing you, and I want you out of my life as soon as possible. You are trespassing on my father's. I've got a medical certificate and a damage report for the slap to my. I'm going to file a lawsuit against inflicting injury.
Hearing this, Corey starts to panic.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. It was all my fault. We can talk about this.
Corey begs me. Judge is begging Stan to forgive her. She has no money to pay the compensation. But there's no way we would forgive. I never withdrew the report. So my husband is arrested and has to fine. I also demand a divorce and custody of our son through my lawyer. My ex-husband now has a huge debt. Judge has nowhere to run to anymore. She must pay the compensation too. Their parents find out about this and they disown Corey. While Judge is dragged back to her old life, she must confront the truth about her past and face the consequences of her actions. She is now being forced to work at farm. Stan, all her wages go to the compensation fund. Most of Corey's salary is used to pay debts, and he seems to be living a poor life. As for me, I've moved into a parent's house, so Corey can't suddenly appear at my. I'm enjoying spending my days with my daughter, just the two of us. She is now in elementary school, has friends, and seems much happier than before. I'm hoping to continue working hard to raise my precious daughter, loving his sister too much and injuring his wife. What kind of husband? His parents seem decent, so I wonder why these two siblings monstrous. At any rate, I'm glad that Kate and are living a peaceful life now. I hope they continue to live happily together. Thanks for sticking around until the. Please subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this video, and see you in the next one.